Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Welcome to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we all want great sex, and there are ways to get that. But great sex for you doesn't mean the same great sex for somebody else. You got to find somebody who is pretty much compatible, willing to learn with you, willing to grow with you. But there are some keys to great sex in a relationship, and that's going to start off our topics today. So we all have different ideas on having great sex in our relationship, and for the most part, we pick a partner who shares in those feelings and thought processes. And that's basically how we find our partners and have a partner for the most part. But let's talk, top on our list is, get in shape. When you feel good about yourself, it shows through your sex, and that through the way in which you move, the way in which you do things through your life. Now, meditating, yoga, hiking, eating, running. What is your normal exercise pattern? Regular, moderate exercise, which is, 30 to 30 minutes. You could do this walk with your partner. Keeping in shape with your partner is a great thing and a great boost in your relationship, because you're sharing that together. You both want the most out of that, which in return helps in the bed. So you really, really want to maintain this. Under staying in shape, you got to eat the right foods. Our fruits, our vegetables, our 5 servings a day. There is a recommended weight that they like, or you would like to maintain. However, the attraction and what attracted you to your partner may alter this particular aspect of keeping in shape, because that's how you like that individual. But do know that if your partner is feeling uncomfortable in their own self, allow them to get to that point and that person they would like to be, and respecting them in every manner, shape, and form, because that is also a way in which to boosting sex, because if your partner has that support, they're going to give it up very easily, and sex is going to be even that much more intense and fun. Really work on your stress management, because when you're stressed, obviously, in a male's situation, little Peter doesn't want to get up. And a woman, women get dry. They are not self-lubricating or anything, and their the way in which they perform sex is like they're not really into it. So, stress is a big thing to eliminate, although sex in some parts is a stress reliever. So remember that there is a twofold on the stress portion. Keeping in shape. Obviously, if you smoke, you smoke. That is your choice. If you both smoke, that is your choice, and it doesn't seem to hinder your sexual relationship. Work on and keep a humping. However, the use of tobacco does have an altering effect in the sexual relationship at times. So think about that. Same thing with alcoholic drinks or anything that's going to hinder how your body functions in normal, everyday things that you do and during sex. Now, one of the biggest things, get enough not enough sleep. See, I'm thinking sex here. But get enough sleep in your routine. When you get enough sleep, sex is amazing as well. So it does, sex does require a good psychological aspect of the mind, but it also requires a robust cardiovascular system with the blood is flowing and the heart is pumping. You're gonna get so sexually aroused, and sex is a great thing because you need the blood to go and flow through your genitals. This is how our genitals become really, really enthused, shall we say, with sex and wanting it and doing what they're supposed to do, with becoming very lubricated, in a man's case, a very, very erect and wanting to, blow away at ejaculation. So there are those things to think about. Good vascular system is great. Another good key, which a lot of people nowadays actually do more now than they did in the good old days because it is more acceptable. And we always talk about that here, which is self-pleasure regularly. Masturbation is a good thing. Very, very good thing. So please pleasure yourself. You are learning from yourself and you're learning what you want. So solo sex, as it is stated, is everyone's original sexuality. And it also, obviously when teenagers are doing it, you gotta understand when kids are growing up, they're already getting aroused, especially little boys that we can see. Now, they don't understand any of this. It is our function as parents to educate them and to help them through this. Obviously, self-pleasure introduces children to erotic pleasure, obviously, because this is a feeling that they've never felt before and they feel that they want to do it to themselves. However, we are talking about the adult, so do it as often as possible because you're learning new ways in which to pleasure you and new little spots that could be played with by your partner, because you need to educate your partner on how to please you and what works for you. And it is different every time you have sex. Yeah, so masturbating quite often is a good thing, and it's a good help, and it's understanding who you are, making you more in tune with who you are sexually as well. So keep it up. Now, key in a great relationship for great sex is please value genuine consent. Please respect your partner and what they say and how they feel, because you want to be able to do it again and continue to do it and build your sexual repertoire with sex toys, porns, and masturbation. So please do sit down and value each other's opinions and consent. And it has to be genuine. Just don't do it. If you're pressured into it, don't do it because you feel you have to please your partner. That is not what it is all about. Consent is consent. It doesn't change either way you look at it. So please respect it from both of you. And what goes in with that is that safe word. So maintain that as well. We have now the touch all over gently. Now mind you, there is a lot of porn out there. And during porn, as you can watch, because you probably sat down and watched it with your partner, they're a little rough, but that's what people like to watch. It's almost living their fantasy vicariously through the porn movie. However, when you are with your partner, unless prior talked about, consented, and actually thoroughly thought about, rough sex is a big mistake right off the bat. So gentle is amazing. We are going to take a break here. And when we come back, we'll continue with our keys to great sex in a relationship and then go on to further elaborate on topics. So get that drink, get that snack, come back, get relaxed, and meet me back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network with your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back to Sex Talk. Now, when we left off with touch all over. Gently, though. And our great keys to great sex and relationships. So we're going to finish up there. Obviously, with touching gently, porn, we get this misconceived notion that they're getting rough in porn, that we should be rough with our partners. That is not true unless it is consensual and part of the BDSM contact, and that is explicit to that, so do talk about that. But when you do touch your partner ever so lightly and gently, that gives more pleasure and an intense sensation to your genitals. That sex, that's all you want to do is just get to the act, get to that orgasm, and make it happen. But go slow. Tickle those nerves and have fun, because when you're tickling those nerves, it's, boosting the flow of blood to the genitals. They, are working on the adrenaline and those other lovely dopamines and stuff that are come into play also. So remember that when you're working on that. Now, once we've gotten to that, when we're in it, obviously we're learning about ourselves sexually through masturbation, through that gentle touch, and through talk and consent and everything. When in the middle of sex, coach each other, because your partner does not know where you want to be touched at that particular time. Coach them. Tell them how to do it. If you want it, faster? Do you want it slower? Do you want to, have them play with your clitoris? Do you want them to play with your nipples? Or, likewise, if your partner wants you to show some pleasure to his genitals and make his member extremely hard and, tease him, do it. This is how you learn. You just want to kiss. You want to stop and go back, slow it down and go back to foreplay. Tell each other, coach each other during sex. We each have wants, needs, and desires for everything, especially during what we like in sex. And this is a way of your relationship growing and to continue to grow, because so many relationships are centered around the sex and not so much other things, but that's something that you do enjoy. That might bring out another area that you can build off of and bond with outside of the bedroom. And through, coaching each other, you're going to tell each other, if you want something different, if you want to be touched different, you're going to tell them your likes and your dislikes, especially in the beginning of that relationship, that you are just learning each other's body. However, it does work for those individuals that have been together for a very long time and are still growing. They're growing in every area, but they want to work on that sex relationship. Do it. Masturbate 3 or 4 times during the day. And then at night, something, when you're going to have sex with your partner, because you want to have that feeling of someone else instead of yourself at that point, it's going to be such a different effect that, because now you have somebody else doing it, but you're imagining when you were doing it to yourself. Tell them how you did it. Tell them what toys you used if you did. Or find ways that your partner can do it without using a toy, but do coach them through it, because we do not know what our partners are thinking, all the time. And that's a good thing, because if we did, then it would be quite boring, because we would actually act off of that. And you don't want to do that. You want to have that spice in your life with your partner and to continue to grow your relationship. And this is a way in which to do that. So please do that. Now, as spoken a little earlier with regards to being sexually aroused, and if you are not, obviously women do become dry. And and it doesn't always just happen in menopausal women. It happens to different women at different stages. It might be something that, your partner is not exactly turning you on right now. So do try lubricants. Please do. There are all different kinds out there, and I talk about them all the time. So do get a lubricant. But if you do not have one, there are some that are household items, and that can be used in a pinch. So obviously use saliva, which kind of tantalizes the labia, the clitoris, and the body, the female body, to produce some wetness. Use a vegetable oil, or wait, you just go into a CVS or something. They do sell a lot of things now sexually. They actually now have vibrators, believe it or not. But they have condoms. They have lubricants. You can use a condom that has lubrication on it and then take it off later, because at that point you have probably worked up a good sloppy wetness to your partner. So that's, there are so many key things out there, but do remember some things do have an interaction with others, so be careful of that. Because if you are using a rubber and it has lubrication on it, and you're using a household lubricant like a vegetable oil or coconut oil or something like that, please do pay attention, because that might just eat at the rubber and break it. So you got to be really careful. But these things are available to you. Get creative. That's what it's all about with sex. Get creative, because that will bring you to our next key, which is to give and receive. Don't always be that person that just lays there and expects your partner to do everything. Give back. Show your partner that what they're doing to you is actually turning you so on that you just want to show your appreciation. Hey, show them how hard you are. Let them feel how hard you are. Same thing with you ladies. Let them put their fingers down there. Do a little finger play. Tantalize that clitoris. Tantalize that labia, that vagina, all over, inside and out. Little finger hump and never hurt anybody. So it is give and receive. We both look at things a little differently. It doesn't matter on the size, obviously. It's how you use it. We as women rely a lot on our partners to play with our area a lot, because that's where our sensation is. So remember that men are on the outside, so do caress his balls, caress his penis, play with the head, that little pre-cum, use that, work it down, kiss it, do it all, because that's your way of giving back. And receiving oral sex is a good thing, not a bad thing, as we were probably taught back in the day. It is a good thing. So, and it's also showing that you are not afraid of your partner's body, their whole body, in knowing that you love each and every inch of their body. So oral sex is a positive. Now we are going to take a break here again, and when we come back, we will finish out our keys to great sex in a relationship. So go replenish that drink and that snack. Come back, get comfortable again, and I'll be back with more Sex Talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back. I hope we are set to finish out my segment with, keys to having great sex in a relationship. Now, we're gonna finish out my segment with a few more, but these are things that you're going to hopefully use and bring back and sit down and talk with your partner and actually, use. These are things that you should really think about doing and keeping up with that, because it is very important if you want a good relationship. Sex is part of that. Now, having changes in scenery are actually a really good thing. Sex play. Now, another key would be to cultivate novelty. And you're going to compare having sex at home to sex in hotel rooms. Why is it more exciting to do this in a hotel room, to have sex in a hotel room? I'm sure everyone out there has had that thought. Ooh, just, because you've seen it on TV, what it would feel like to, have sex in a seedy hotel room. And you're not home. You don't know the people. It's, you just want to have that. It's a little bit of fear of them hearing you or having, which is a turn on for you. It's setting off different thought processes, different, neurological, sensations and things like that. And it is a very, novelty is a potent, reliable turn on. You want to make a difference. You want to do this. Here's where our neurotransmitter dopamine steps into the rescue and makes that sexual act that much more huge. And this is something that you're going to talk about because you took it out of the home. You did something different and you were so turned on by it that you want to do it again. Think about it. We all have these desires. Within reason, act them out, because that's what they are there for. And it actually will elevate your relationship in feelings and bonds, and actually reactivate a once thought time in your relationship where you thought your sexual desires and things were actually going down the tube, but they're not. You may need a little newness, a little change in the environment. That's why things are here for our use, sexually or not. So do use them because they are fun. Again, tying in with cultivating novelty. You're in the middle of a fantasy. You went to that seedy hotel room. You bought toys. You did things for role play. Enjoy that fantasy. Make it last for as long as it is doing it for you. Even if it you want to have sex more than one time. You might want to have a quickie in the beginning. Get it all out, then continue that role play and that fantasy, whereas now you're going back into sexual arousal again and being turned on. And it's going to make it, the next sexual encounter is going to be longer and more, hot and steamy. You're going to be hotter than before. It's going to take you longer to have that orgasm. Do things differently. And that's, working that fantasy and keeping it going, keeping your voice going in it, coaching, do all these things. That's what they're there for. Change it up a bit. If you went into the fantasy one way, change the ending every time. Change up that ending. If you want a different beginning, but you liked one ending, change the beginning. That fantasy, that sexual fantasy is for you and your partner to work on, to grow with your relationship, to make that next encounter even better. There might just be a time when you just wanted to go back and, we did this the other day. I kind of liked it. Do it. But when you're in the middle of it, start coaching each other, because at that point in time, you probably are thinking, I want to try this time. Say something. That's what you're there for. That's why your partner is there. That's why you're having fun doing it and having sex. And please, these are body parts, your nipples, your breasts, what you want to call them. If you have pet names, your genitals, they are there to be played with. Adam and Eve broke the mold and allowed us to have this. Do take advantage, because it's fun. I mean, in total, one word, fun. Fun, 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 fun. We all enjoy having that orgasm. We want to see how we can make that orgasm better, bigger, longer. This is how we do that. We use these things and work on them and do different things here and there that are going to enhance each part of us and our relationship sexually, because we all have different views on what is great sex and how to attain it. These are just mere guiding points to help you. If you are stuck, use them. But if you are not, you just want a little bit of a change, sit down, talk to your partner, do something different. Surprise them. Maybe your partner wants you to be spontaneous. There are those relationships that love spontaneity. Do it. It is there for the taking. It is to make it bigger and better. Walk around the house butt naked. And when your partner comes home, or there's that fantasy where you come walking up to the door in a long trench coat, but underneath you have absolutely nothing. And that mere giddiness of, can your neighbors tell you have nothing on under that, is so throwing you off the sexual charts that you want more. You can't wait for your partner to take you. These are living the fantasies. This is what it is. Porn movies are staged. There's a script with those. Okay? It's a script. It's so that you can see more penetration. So you can see how this, that, and the other. You're seeing it from the outside to turn you on. Your sexual relationship, your sexual acts in your relationship are your script. So write that script in ways that you want it. Each of us have a role. Intertwine those roles. Change those roles. That's what makes it bigger and better. So don't ever forget that. This is all about having fun, having an awesome orgasm. Next time if you think about these things too, like we had sex, you and your partner say to yourselves in your heads, okay, we had sex today. Tomorrow I want to do this, or I want my partner to see this in a different light or in a different way. Change that fantasy. Novelty is key in keeping it good. The old fashions always do work and can be and changed to be better, to even elaborate more on it, to make, bring it up a level. This is where you have fun. This is where you are enjoying each other, not only when you go out and you're holding hands and the cuddling and that little foreplay in between. Those are awesome and should always been put in. But when you get into sex and you're getting to that orgasm, you're showing your partner you appreciate them and you want to know that you can please your partner. On that note, that is the end of my show. So thank you again for tuning in and hanging in there. And as always, practice safe sex, if not for your partner, for yourself. And vice versa, if not for yourself, for your partner. Because all need to be safe. Stay safe in today's world. I know we're getting back to somewhat normal in the world of our societal norms. And tune in next time for more sex talk with Andra on the GSMC network.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.